Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Santa Barbara City Council October 10th, 2017 meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Hotchkiss. Here. Councilmember White. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Dominguez. Here. Councilmember Rouse. Here. Councilmember Hart. Here. Councilmember Murillo.
Here.
Mayor Schneider.
Here. And item 1, please.
Item 1, subject, proclamation recognizing October 2017 as Dyslexia Awareness Month.
Fluency, spelling, and writing. And dyslexia is a lifelong condition that is often hereditary and affects 1 in 5 people of all backgrounds, ethnicities, talents, and intellectual levels. And children with dyslexia often experience difficulties with depression, anxiety, poor self-image, and academic underperformance, and as such have an increased risk of dropping out before completing high school. Many people with dyslexia learn to read and write with proper treatment, allowing them to be more successful in school, work, and life. And early identification is important because all those who struggle to learn deserve every chance to fulfill their potential for happy, productive lives. Dyslexia affects many children and adults in Santa Barbara, and Dyslexic Santa Barbara is committed to increasing public awareness of dyslexia and serving the Santa Barbara community by providing a wealth of information, resources, and support to individuals affected by dyslexia, as well as to local parents, educators, and the public at large. So now, therefore, I, Helene Schneider, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Santa Barbara, California, do hereby proclaim October 2017 as Dyslexia Awareness Month in Santa Barbara. Thank you both so much, and so your whole team on all the important work that you do. So thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Say it again.
Thank you. Go ahead. Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Sherry Ray. I'm with Dyslexia Santa Barbara. I want to thank you for that proclamation because creating community awareness is really important. Dyslexia is not just an issue for our schools. It's for our community. It's for our workplace. It even gets into our juvenile justice system and beyond. I do want you to know that since we were last here, California has passed the California Dyslexia Guidelines. And I'm happy to say that these were co-sponsored by then Assembly Member Das Williams. So this now gives our schools an opportunity to follow a roadmap where we didn't have one before. So on behalf of the 1 in 5 in Santa Barbara and elsewhere who have dyslexia, thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, public comment. We have a number of speakers here. We'll start with Clint Orr, to be followed by Tom Woodrow. Good afternoon.
Hey. Mayor Schneider, council members, Clint Orr here. I think the biggest issue in the elections coming up is really the airport bankruptcy and insolvency. I think it's bigger than the marijuana thing and the homeless thing. And if we can resolve the airport insolvency, then we could actually pay for some services, that you need. Dance halls like missions and railroads were staples of civilization in This city was born on a railroad in 1901 that went to a dance hall. Yes, it did. Same with Newport, same with San Diego, same with Huntington Beach. And now I have an offer to put a dance hall at the airport, and I'm ignored. And I think that's wrong. I'm going to make it a big issue. I'm a male chauvinist gentleman. I'm sorry. I have a tendency to lead and the gals follow, and I have a tendency to pay. So, actually, honestly, I should get 20% higher pay because I pay for everything. I open doors. I pay for drinks. I pay for food. I pay for housing. I pick them up in my car. Okay? So I don't mind this equality issue. At the same time, we've got to have a little room for a male chauvinist gentleman. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to make this a big deal. I think all candidates must read the Airport Master Plan of 2015. I have attached in the public comments great detail. I think it's 37 pages on the airport honky tonk, and you guys have been shoving it under the rug. So, same with the Independent, same with the news press. Okay, so no more. I'm doing a television show at SBTV, and you guys think I'm going away, and I think that's pretty funny. So I'm not. Let's amp it up. Airport honky tonk.
Tom Woodrow
Thank
will be followed by Natasha Todorovic, and the final speaker will be, or maybe not, then Jerry Estrada. Mr. Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm not a male chauvinist, but I do like to talk about taxes. I represent a group called Santa Barbara City Watch. I like to discuss these issues by starting off with another story of a luminous or luminary band. U2 was criticized widely in the press back in 2015 for what they practice what's called tax efficiency. They fly all around the world and they have great shows, and I guess they wanted to save their money as well. So it would seem that if U2, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and other great acts want to save money on taxes and have their tax money spent efficiently, it would be the same for those folks in Santa Barbara. And that leads me circuitously to Measure C. I know we've received our vote by mail, hope probably today. I would encourage a no vote on Measure C, as I've expressed here before the council. I think there's just a few basic problems. Number one, and I would love any of you to guarantee me otherwise, that the money could not be spent on something other than roads, bridges, and a new police station, because there's no guarantee. Number two, there's no sunset clause to the tax, so I guess it could never end, and we'd forever have an 8.75% sales tax, which isn't the end of the world, but it's more money, it's expensive, makes it one more burden on Santa Barbara, accumulated Santa Barbara businesses, especially down here on State Street. So, and the third thing is that I think, folks who live here, I guess you could call it a regressive tax. It's expensive for people like our family, when we come to Santa Barbara to have to buy food and either way, you pay more when you go to Old Navy or go wherever you do. You have to pay more in tax. So I'm not saying the roads don't need to be fixed. They do. As you know, Santa Barbara City Watch supported a specific tax. We'd gladly get behind that. You could itemize those things out. I know Councilman Hart has a lot of experience with those kinds of measures.
Thank you. Ms. Murillo has a question for you.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask what part of the city you live in.
I live in Buellton, but I lived here for over 20 years, and we still come here 2 or 3 times a week. I come here for business all the time.
And
we spend money in Santa Barbara.
Are you paid by City Watch to come and make comments about Measure C?
I am paid by City Watch. I do earn some money.
Thank you, Mr. Woodrow.
Okay.
I wish it were more.
Natasha Todorovic.
Hi, Natasha Todorovic, Citizens for Livable Neighborhoods. You might have noticed a couple of weeks ago that the India Muerto site visit was not a fun outing that you guys had to do. Reason for that was because we had an appeal and we pulled the appeal. And I came to let you know that we engaged in good faith negotiations with the developer, and we came to a compromise that we think was very helpful for the east side. So I wanted to let you know that, get that on the public record, and also let you know that we're putting together currently a group of people who are going to be putting together design guidelines for the east side. So what we'd like to do is get this on the calendar. I think you've got a joint council planning commission thing coming up on October 26th. So we'd like to get east side design guidelines on that calendar, if you would please. And that's what we got. The developer was really interested in the community, very sincere about what was happening on the east side, and I think it was a really good solution for everybody. So there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dominguez. Mr. Todorovic, yeah.
Well, it's actually for the city manager.
Okay. Thank you.
What is the process to get this issue in front of the joint meeting? Do we need to vote on that as a council? Is this something that staff can
Madam Mayor, council members, I don't believe planning staff has been involved in the development of the guidelines, so we don't have anything to present from a staff perspective. There certainly is public comment at the joint meeting with the Planning Commission in that regard, and it's on general planning workload type issues, and so I think it could be discussed under those parameters, but staff isn't prepared to present anything because I don't think we're engaged in it.
Can they give us a loose menu of options just so we can have a more, so we can give feedback at that meeting about what we'd want to see happen? I know it would be down the line and there's a lot of things in the queue, but just in terms of, I think Milpas has needed a plan for a while now. So just to kind of get the ball rolling, what would we need to do as a council so that at that meeting we could give appropriate feedback?
Councilmember Dominguez, Madam Mayor, exactly what you said, prioritizing it as a workload and looking at the other priority items that we're working on and then slotting it in where you think it is appropriate and defer work on other items to do so.
And so do you need a vote from council to get it on that list?
No, I think that, the list is kind of here's our workload, and if you have a new idea that you want to insert, that's the appropriate time to do that and give us that type of direction.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Ralph M. Brown will get excited if you don't have it on the agenda, if you intend to have a robust discussion about the design guidelines. So from my perspective, lawyer perspective, the easiest thing to do would be for council to ask for a line item in that agenda to have a discussion of this.
Wait, hold on. We're not talking about a robust discussion. We're talking about whether to initiate a process, right?
Just to keep the lawyers happy and the district attorney away from our lovely city hall, I'd love to make a motion to have a line item so that we can talk about it freely, even if it's just a few words. So I'd make a motion that we ask staff to put a line item in the agenda.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Okay, Mr. White. So this is just basically to have it as part of the discussion at the Planning Commission, Joint Planning Commission City Council hearing. Okay. So I imagine you're going to have to come and so we know what it is that we're talking about, right?
We're trying to put it together right
Okay.
now.
All right,
So we're
but
trying to get a really talented team
I'm not
to do
hearing
it.
from this motion, this is a whole grand presentation because we have a pretty packed agenda and a whole lot of other things. This is just including this as part of the list of items, right? Okay. Mr. Hotchkiss.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to discuss this if we don't have any information on it.
Well, yeah, that's the point. It's just to be able to discuss something, whatever the something is.
No,
That's what the motion
I'll
is.
vote against that one.
Okay, Ms. Murillo?
I would suggest maybe the Neighborhood Advisory Council would be a good place to start, or the East Side Neighborhood Association. I'm interested in what you're developing.
Thank you.
And a good place to start would be public comment at the Planning Commission joint meeting with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is just to add this item is on the list of things to discuss at the joint planning city council meeting, right? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed?
No.
Was that 4-3? Wow, okay. So opposed to Hotchkiss, Hart, and Murillo. So thank you very much. We'll have it, and just to be clear, I'm not expecting we have a lot to discuss that day, so. Jerry Estrada and then Mary Delight.
Madam Mayor, council members, Jerry Estrada, General Manager, MTD. I just want to give you a quick update. Our first of the new battery electric shuttles is here today. We had it out front for the public to see. You'll be seeing more of them, another 13, arriving in Santa Barbara over the next several months as we start to phase out the old fleet for State Street and Waterfront. It's an exciting time. It's the first really modern battery electric vehicle, and it's continuing that tradition that we've had together for 25 years of providing zero emission tailpipe vehicles on State Street and Waterfront. Looking forward to continuing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Delight? Is that your, I think that's what you said your last name was.
Oh, that's
okay.
my first and my middle name.
Got it.
My last name is Schutz, but I prefer the first two. I'm
Okay.
trying to live up to my virtue. Thank you, all of you. You're all angels. I'm here today to address our children, our future. The Iroquois people say in our every deliberation, we must think of the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations. And when I was walking today on Chapala and Ortega, at the top of Paseo Nuevo, there's a weather vane with a car. And I'm wondering, because of an environmentalist, because Santa Barbara is where Earth Day started, why are we promoting auto emissions when we should put a bird up there? Also, I'm wondering why the children are waltzed into the library to see the painting of the Egyptian slavery, when really they should be waltzed in there to see JFK's inaugural address, and I wondered what happened to it. JFK's inaugural address used to be upstairs in the Santa Barbara Public Downtown Library. Also, I wanted to address on Anacapa, there's a city building that says fear next to a child. While I love artists and I appreciate what they're trying to say, I think a better word would be love, because love is greater than fear. And there's a lot of love in Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara saved my life. Thank you. And also, I wanted to stop pot because my friend Jerry is a bus driver in Sacramento, and her beloved son was lost to marijuana, and I don't want any marijuana on earth. And there's one more. While I love the De La Guerra family, I would love to change the name of that street to De La Paz or De La Amor for all of us, for the world. Thank you very much. You're all angels.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. Move on to the consent calendar. There's some items to read.
Item 3, adoption of ordinance amending the municipal solid waste collection and disposal franchise granted by the city to Marburg Industries. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only an ordinance of the council of the city of Santa Barbara amending the municipal solid waste collection and disposal franchise granted by the city to Marburg Industries Incorporated on February 12, 2013 by city ordinance number 5608. Item 4, subject: resolution of acceptance of a street easement on Puesta del Sol from the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the council of the city of Santa Barbara accepting a grant of easement and maintenance agreement from the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. Item 5, subject: acquisition of real property rights for the 500 Street Bridge Replacement Project. Recommendation: adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the council of the city of Santa Barbara to acquire and accept various fee title and permanent and temporary construction easement interests located at 1232 East 500 Street, 14 South Canada Street, the condominium property at Salinas Place, Oak Street, Clifton Street, and authorizing the Public Works Director to execute such agreements and related documents that may be required, all relating to the 500 Street Bridge Replacement Project, and consenting to the recordation of the related deeds in the County of Santa Barbara's Recorder's Office.
Thank you. Keep going.
7, subject: floodplain management ordinance update. Introduce and subsequently adopt by reading of title only an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending Chapter 22.24 of the Santa Barbara Municipal Code regarding floodplain management regulations and adopting by reference the American Society of Civil Engineers Standard ASCE 24.
Great, thank you. Without further objection, we'll waive further reading. We do have a speaker slip for item 6. Any other items to take off the consent calendar? No, could you read item 6, please?
Item 6, subject: donation of equipment truck from the Santa Barbara Police Foundation.
Great, Mr. Hans. And all of you, come on up. It's a great event the other day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Madam Mayor, City Council, I have behind me my amazing group of supporters, the people that make it all happen. Here, this is unacceptable. Sorry, we got that
There we go.
down. President of the Police Foundation Board, Pamela Jeremiah. Secretary, Joanne Fenari. Board member, Craig Case. Behind is Captain Altavilla, who you know. We are here on behalf of the Santa Barbara Police Foundation to make another donation of equipment. As you know, our 3 items of support are safety equipment, items that make the officers and the citizens' lives safer, catastrophic illness and injury support for our officers, actually for all of our employees, not just officers, and the At Ease program that helps both Santa Barbara Police Department officers and all law enforcement officers on the South Coast if they need help with counseling and things of that nature. So most of you guys, I believe, got a chance to attend our event last Sunday. We had another successful event, and we are now able to come forward with a SWAT equipment truck. As you may or may not be aware, in the past, for the 17 years that I've been on the SWAT team, we've had to come in and respond if there was a serious issue. We've had to come in and find whatever vehicle we could, load the gear from the SWAT equipment room out into all kinds of different vehicles. So we've been trying to get this for a long time, for the 17 years that I've been on the team. And the Foundation board voted generously to purchase a truck. It's actually an old City of San Francisco animal control truck, so we are doing our part to reduce, reuse, recycle. And we've retrofitted it with emergency lighting, radios that were donated and stuff like that. So we now have, we have a sale for, no, it's not electric, but we're close. So anyway, it's going to speed up our efficiency of our response, hopefully save lives if and when the time comes. And I just wanted to thank my board, the people that are here and who are not here, for making this possible, because, again, it will be something that makes the officers' lives safer and the citizens. So thank you on behalf of everybody for what you guys do for us.
Thank you. Mr. Hotchkiss has a comment.
Question. So this is preloaded and just sitting there all the time, ready to go?
Correct. We've got it parked next to our Bearcat, which is our armored rescue vehicle. Once the council agenda report is approved today, we are going to sit down with Captain Altaville and Lieutenant Duarte, figure out what items should be stored in there, what shouldn't, and then have it preloaded with everything but the last few bits of equipment so that we can quickly respond to a scene.
Any feel for how much time this would save?
You're talking probably at least half an hour of, when you add up the 4 to 5 to 6 SWAT officers who would have been loading separate vehicles, and the time it takes to get from the bowels of the police department and the SWAT locker and get stuff out to vehicles. The secondary thing that it accomplishes, if you guys have ever seen us respond to a SWAT incident, the vehicles get parked in all kinds of different places as the officers get there in 2s and 3s. So what will happen is when the SWAT sergeants or one of the SWAT team leaders calls for a piece of equipment, we then have to get on the radio, ask what car did it come in, where is that car parked, who's got the keys to it, is it a Chevy, is it an Explorer, is it a Ford? It's a logistical nightmare. So this, not only at the station but at the scenes, is going to be a huge boon for us.
Will the SWAT team be riding this also?
There's room for 3 people in it. It's a Ford F-250 super cab, so there'll be lockable storage behind the seat, and then all of the boxes that had been for animals. Like I said, it used to be an animal control truck, but we've modified it to hold equipment. So you'll have a contingent that'll be able to roll out immediately in the Bearcat. You'll have a couple of officers that'll get all the equipment there in the SWAT truck, and then the rest of the team will have to find a way there. Again, it'll be police cars. But at least all the equipment will be centrally located in one spot, and all the SWAT officers will have a key to all those boxes, so they won't have to search for the right key.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your
and thank
time.
you all for all your work. Mr. Case, did you want to add something?
Maybe we can book the dance hall for our next event.
All right.
Captain, did you want to?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I just wanted to go ahead and again thank the foundation for their continuing level of support for the men and women of the police department. It is truly inspiring to see what they're doing for our organization and for the people that are out there being the first responders. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion for the consent calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Rouse, second by Dominguez. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Report from the Ordinance Committee, Mr. Rouse.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Ordinance Committee met today to discuss the commercial, or I should say the Adult Use of Marijuana Act regulations as they pertain to the city. And we were able to forward some of the land use parts of the ordinance along to the Planning Commission for their review, and will be coming back to us after that.
Okay. This is the quickest calendar, I think, ever. Any council member committee assignment reports? Ms. Murillo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended an event called State Street 4.0 last week. It was sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce and the Sustainable Change Alliance, and it was the former mayor of Fresno and the head of Bitwise, which is a successful tech company in Fresno. And the discussion was about economic development and how to change around a city that's having problems. It was a great discussion. Thank you.
Mr. White.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Saturday, I attended the Community Arts Workshop event, which was commemorating Gary Chafe's, bringing Gary Chafe's work together into one place. Folks that own his art brought it down there, and it was hung that afternoon, and it was really an amazing array of work that Gary died, this year at the age of 80, was here for almost 60 years. And it ranges from labels for Tom Shepard's produce boxes, and I believe he even had some work up in the mayor's office in some of the various First Thursdays, to a guidebook on Lower State Street from the old days, which is very cool. Santa Barbara, the Barbara Bowl, and Frank's Rice Bowl, and such like. So just a neat range of work.
Okay, Mr. Hart.
Last Thursday, I attended the Coast annual event. This is their annual celebration of the organization and all the work that they do. And Drew Van Hengel received the Barry Siegel Award for her contribution as an employee for the city of Santa Barbara in a lifetime of working on behalf of alternative transportation. I think Councilmember Dominguez was there at the event as well. And I know a lot of us were at the Hotel California and ribbon cutting. I wasn't actually able to stay for the ribbon cutting, but I know you had a great event, and I was there for as long as I could be there. And it's a spectacular project. It's wonderful to actually be there, seeing it on the ground. It looks like it has always been there.
Mr. Dominguez.
Speaking of Coast, I attended their walk this morning on the east side. We walked around the Cleveland School and looked at the traffic and the congestion and some of the crosswalks, and came up with some ideas how to make the roads there more safe.
Great. On Saturday, I participated with the Chamber of Commerce and the fishermen's, what's the actual term? It's the new fish fillet station right there at the harbor. So every Saturday morning, you may know there is a fish market, and now there's a fillet station, so you can buy the fish and have someone either just clean it or actually fillet it, and you can keep all the extras or not, however you'd like. And hopefully that will spruce up business up there on Saturday mornings. It was a picture-perfect day. Great partnership happening there. So that was a lot of fun. Okay. That's everybody. We have a closed session.
Item 9, subject conference with city attorney, existing litigation as described in agenda item 9.
Great. And we will adjourn from closed session and be back next week. Thanks.